Let's talk a little bit about the marijuana question. And of course, it seems as though Maine voters were voting to show some compassion, that people who need this prescription drug would now have better access to it. But this leaves the state with a real issue of trying to come up with a distribution system.
Now what?
Yeah, I mean, what does happen now that is, I wouldn't want to be the people having to make this decision on how you protect legal problems and still get the medicine out to people who need it.
You know, it's a remarkable thing that Maine, first when Maine passed medical marijuana in the first place, and now this kind of, like you said, maybe it's compassion. I'm not sure what it is, but it's kind of counterintuitive that it would be this wide support for something like this. But you're right. The big problem right now is what are these dispensaries going to look like? Who's going to oversee them? How's it going to work? That all needs to be worked out.
It seems clear, we've talked about this before, but this is something that probably has to be done at the federal level.
I would think so. You may find this interesting. I voted for it.
Good for you.
And I did.
I'm not surprised.
I did because I couldn't find a reason not to. We support methadone, which is, I know, for a lot of different addictions, but clearly heroin is one of the reasons people get on methadone. We clearly legalize alcohol. I've never smoked marijuana, as we talked about last week, Pat, but I just couldn't figure out why this was such a bad thing, and no one gave me a good reason.
But of course, the next step in a lot of people's minds is full legalization. I mean, I presume that's going to be the next battle we have here.
Yeah. Well, California is trying to do that now.
You know, it's funny because it's kind of a social pendulum kind of thing, and in many ways it's similar to what's happening with equal rights for gays and lesbians, same-sex marriage. You know, there is a shift going on in today's society. It takes time, and I think question 1 vote shows it. But marijuana is the same thing. There is clearly a changing of thought around marijuana, and I think ultimately down the road we probably will be looking at legalization proposals.
And as a practical matter, we've got states looking at the idea of making some money on this. Correct. Because they make money on booze, why not this too?
And that would be a reason I would vote against it. I wouldn't vote for full legalization, but I just couldn't find a good reason. If someone has AIDS and this helps them with nausea and appetite, or someone has glaucoma or cancer, I couldn't find a good reason if there's a prescription drug, which this has to be prescribed, if there was a prescription that they could get to provide them some relief. It just seemed illogical to me not to do it.